Hello and welcome to Woman to Woman. I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. I am the voice for those who suffer in silence. It is indeed a blessing to be here with you today, as today we are talking about don't be fooled. Today we are addressing how not to be fooled. And I'll explain a little bit more about what I mean by that topic, don't be fooled, here in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to do a little housekeeping. We talked to you on the other day about forgiveness, about doing this first. Before we can move forward, we must know what it's like to forgive, because forgiveness is one of the significant elements in our lives that tend to hold us back. And so today I wanted to just share with you my book, Struggling to Forgive. This is a good resource for anyone who has trouble in that area or find it challenging to understand why is it so difficult to forgive. What does forgiveness really look like? What steps do I need to take? How do I understand the process? This is a great resource for you to have. You can pick this book up on Amazon. It's also found in audio form on iTunes and Audible as well, guys. So check that book out, get it, put it in your home library. Uh, One of the things, the best thing that you can do to start improving your life and improving the quality of your mindset and just having that enrichment in your life is by reading. And so I made it easy for you. Not only is it available on Kindle or paperback, but it's also in audio form. So for those of you who maybe um, have trouble reading and comprehending, or for those of you who uh, don't have time to sit and read a book, it's available on audio for you. So go and check that out. You can thank me later for directing you to that book, because it is a good short read, a good short listen, but it will give you a wealth of understanding of what forgiveness looks like and how to take the steps into forgiving and why it's so challenging sometimes for us. Nonetheless, guys, I'm glad to be here with you. I'm glad that we're here to have this platform, a place to where we can come together and just have a conversation and not have to be feeling like we're judged or feel threatened or feel guilty for having conversations about topics and things that that bother us, things that we have questions on, and things like that. So that's what we're here for. That's what the platform is for, just to have a space to come and let's have some real, authentic, genuine, unscripted conversations. That's what we're all about. Nonetheless, guys, don't be fooled. And some of you guys, you say, what do I mean by don't be fooled? Well, what I mean is that I noticed so oftentimes that when people come to talk to me, or they want to have a consultation with me, or we're having just a genuine conversation, many of them assume that because I'm a older woman, or because I'm at this stage in my life to where I've reached some success, or I have a career, or it looks like I have everything together and I don't have any problems, people assume that I've always been this way. They assume that I always have had the wisdom and the knowledge that I have. They assume that I got to where I am without any challenges or without any struggles or hardships. Well, guys, this is what I want to share with you. I don't want you to be fooled. Don't be fooled by uh, a woman who is older. Don't be fooled by the other woman that's sitting on the pew next to you in church service. Don't be fooled by the woman on your job that has worked her way up the ranks to the boss position or management or supervision who looks down on you. Don't be fooled by that. Don't be fooled by that. And this is where so many of us younger women get stuck. We get stuck because we're looking at those women that we look up to, that should be examples. The woman who has raised her kids already, or the woman who has been in this career or been on this job for 20, 30 years. And you're just starting out, and we're looking at this woman as if she's some kind of idol, or she's some kind of role model, or she's some kind of perfect being. And when we do that, we do ourselves a disservice, because automatically, just like we as Christians, or those professed Christians, just like we perceive all those characters in the Bible that we read about, just because we perceive them as being some kind of perfect supernatural being or person or character being told in a story with no issues, or had some kind of supernatural powers that they could just overcome the challenges and the issues that they faced, just like the way we perceive them, some of us, it's the same way you younger women, or even some of you older ones now who are just getting it together, perceive us, other women. The perception is off. So we can't allow ourselves to be so fooled or to be so caught up in what something looks like without considering the history behind it all. Because I know it can be damaging sometimes for us when we try to connect with another woman in the church, or we try to connect with another woman on the job, and then when we let our guards down, we end up hurt by something that was said or something that they done that did not line up with our initial perception of who they were. We perceive them as this perfect being. We forget that they have feelings. We forget that they have a story. We forget that there's history behind them. We forget that some of them may also be broken too. Some of them may also have suffered through some of the traumas that we do too. We forget that there's a character, that there's a person, that there's a human being in them too. And it's not supernatural. It's not beyond making mistakes. So we end up hurt. We end up hurting because we neglect to see that person for being a person. Yes, we may aspire to be like them when we grow up. Yes, we want to display our beauty or have that confidence, or portray that confidence that they have. That's attractive to us. That's what draws us to one another. We see something that we like. Yes, we want that boldness that she has. But do you know that that also comes with a price? That also came with a story, that also came with some brokenness, that also came with some dysfunction as well. And it's no different than some of us. We sit at home strolling through the TV channels. We love the Housewives. We love to watch that. We love Married to Medicine. We love that. People that look like us and they're in the spotlight, those reality shows, and we can kind of have a glimpse or an image or a peep into their lives. We love looking at that, sitting wasting hours watching that stuff. We know it's not adding any value to us, but it gives us some kind of good feeling to know that we're not the only ones with dysfunction, and that money didn't separate us. Even that they have more money than us, or their money is a little different, it's spent a little different, it stretches a little farther, they still have issues too. And guys, this is the way we have to really begin to understand each other. Money, career, success, none of that eliminates us from our past or our history or our story. None of it. Because I don't care who you can look at or who comes to mind right now that you idolize and that you admire so much. They have issues too. They're not as perfect as you think they are. Yes, they may be beautiful. Yes, they may be on that dream job that you desire. Or yes, they may be a celebrity living in the spotlight. Yes, they're able to travel around the world and motivate people and give these awesome speeches. But guys, they are human too. And some of the same old mess that traps us up traps them up too. Some of the same old issues from our past that haunts us hunts them too. The only difference is they've made their mind up that they're going to use it to their advantage. They decided that they're not going to wallow in pity any longer. They decided that if they have to suffer through this, they may as well get paid for it. And I can almost guarantee you that no one that you can think of right now got it without challenges or oppositions that came. And to be honest with them, to be honest with you, some of them are still facing those. You know, it must be something to be a celebrity in the spotlight, being this beautiful being portrayed as this beautiful, flawless person before the world, when secretly we're hurting, and secretly we're miserable. Secretly, we don't love ourselves. Secretly, we're addicted. Secretly, we deal with these insecurities because we always have to be a little more beautiful or dress a little more better or have our body in a little bit of more shape than the next girl so that we can stay in the place that we are. It's a fight. It's a dog eat dog world. So ladies, I want to encourage you not to be fooled. And I wanted to pinpoint on the church hurt, women hurting other women from the church, because this is where we see a lot of it. Not only that, but even on our jobs. These are the only places a lot of times to where we encounter other women. This is where we trust other women. So I'm telling you, but just because you see that older woman, just because you consider her a mentor, just because she's your pastor, just because she's uh, uh, over the mission department, just because she's an usher at the door, just because she's your supervisor, just because she's your boss, don't neglect to understand that she's human like you. Don't perceive her as being this flawless, uh, supernatural type of being. I don't care how wonderful she is. We can't be fooled because we're all human. I am the same woman today as I was 20 and 30 years ago. I aged a little bit. As I aged a little bit, I developed a little bit. As I developed a little bit, I realized that there were some things in me that weren't right. There were some things in me that I found a hindrance. And so I had to go and redefine who I was. I had to go and recreate myself. I had to get a hold to this mindset. I had to learn some discipline. I had to learn to focus on me and learn what I like. I have to learn how to interact and socialize and engage with other people without imposing and without using my influence in a negative manner. I had to go and do all that. I had to do the work. But let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, the woman that you meet, the woman that you admire, the woman that you're connected to or desire to connect to, the woman that you're drawn to her for a reason. You want to know what that reason is? You're drawn to her because 9 times out of 10, y'all share similarities in your story. You share similarities in your story. She just doesn't talk about it. And so whereas maybe she's done a little work to learn to separate herself by looking different or by acting different, or maybe she no longer wears the residue. Maybe she's done the work and developed herself so that she's not that girl anymore. Don't neglect to think that she cannot relate to where you are and where you've been. And the only difference in which you can tell whether or not she's done the work is either she's going to accept you and draw you with love, or she's going to accept you to a point you make her uncomfortable, and she's going to do something to push you away. So there's something to think about, guys. Hurting people hurt people. And that is why I said in the beginning of my broadcast is that forgiveness is important. We have to learn that forgiveness, because it's that inability to forgive or that neglecting to forgive not only other people but ourselves will impact every relationship that we have. So that sister that you see dressed up every Sunday morning with a skirt just the right length and a hat on just right with her stockings, and she got a Bible, and she going to church and she shouting and singing louder than anybody. She has a past. She may not have always done that. That's just where she's at now. She's learned to cope with some things. And let me tell you, when she's totally healed, when she's on her road to healing, and when she's doing the work on herself, she ain't got time to look down on you. She ain't got time to impose hurt on you. And so that's how you know the difference. You know that church hurt is real hurt. You know, you hear that all the time. That church hurt, that's real hurt. Because we're in a place to where we ought to be able to trust some people. There ought to be some people in there that can understand what we're going through, that won't be so critical and so judgmental. You know why they're critical and judgmental? Because they haven't done the work. And many of us get fooled by that, because we're drawn in by this perception of who people are telling us God is and who his followers are, these Christian people, this over dramatized definition of who Christians are. And so we have this in our mind that they're perfect people and that they won't do us any harm. But guys, we fail to neglect that we're all human. And I don't care what lives on the inside of me, I'm subject to hurt you or harm you in some kind of way, knowingly or not knowingly. Because guess what? I have life experiences. I have feelings. I have emotions. You have life experiences. You have feelings. You have emotions. I have a personality. You have a personality. There's characteristics about me. I have character flaws. So do you. And when you get to meshing all that together, we're subject to mistakes. So we can't be fooled. And not only that, we cannot judge God or Jesus Christ by the humans who profess the Christianity. We're not supernatural. We're not. And as much as we like to believe we are, some of us, is so prolific as some of us think that we are, as a wonder as some of us think we are, we're not. And truth be told, some of us still work out and operate and interact with carnal intentions. We're petty, we're childish, we're bitter, we're angry. And all of that shows up every time a woman steps in the room. Every time a woman tries to get close to us, we go back to that place of our own hurt and our own insecurities and our own pains and our own inability to forgive and our own dysfunctions. We always go back to that place. So we can't be fooled, because just because we know better does not necessarily mean that we're doing better. Does not necessarily mean we're not going to speak words that are going to hurt you some kind of way or make you feel some kind of way or that are going to be damaging. And that's just the way it is. I hate it's that way, but we're human. Humans are subject to mistakes. Humans operate out of feelings and emotions, especially when there is no discipline and self-control, which is what many of us lack. I would be a lie to sit here and tell you that I'm saved anyhow and flying on the heaven anyhow and I ain't doing no wrong anyhow, just because of where I am in my life right now. If you knew this girl 20, 30, 40 years ago, you would see someone who is broken, someone who is dysfunction, someone who has suffered many different things and challenges and betrayals and rejections, insecurities, anger, bitterness. All that, it's still here. It's not going nowhere. You know why she don't show up? You know why she don't say things to try to hurt people or intentionally discourage people and put somebody else down? It's because of discipline and self-control. It's because of the things that I now put in these eyes and these ears and the things that I feed my body and the things that I allow my hands to touch and my mind. All that plays a role. You want to know who somebody is? Watch what they do. Listen to what they say. Go some of the places they go. See who they're interacting with. See what they're laughing and talking about. I can tell you what, it's going to show up. We can't be fooled. And at the same time, we can't be so quick to judge and walk away, because we're not perfect. We're not. And not everything is as it seems. So just because you see an older woman, a grandma, or an older woman you consider to be a sister or a mentor or a boss lady, they have problems too. You're out there looking for a perfect woman to connect with, that you can share with. I'm telling you, she's out there, but she's not going to be perfect. She may just let you down, but you can't continue to stack up walls and build up walls, the fear of being hurt. We have to get to the point that we don't care who knows what we're dealing with. We don't care who knows what we've been through. We don't care. We're going to go on anyhow. We have to get that. We can't just be falling out with one another. because of what we perceive them to be. They're just being themselves. And that's the only reason why we're upset. We're upset because we thought they were something that they wouldn't. That's not their fault. You know, it would be sad for a woman to connect herself with me, and then when she finds out I'm not perfect, then she's hurt or she's turned off because I'm not perfect. I'm not. I'm not going to be. There's going to be times I'm going to make mistakes. There are going to be some things about me that you're not going to agree with. There are going to be some things that I value that you don't value. There are going to be some things that's said that's going to hurt your feelings, truth or no truth. There's going to be some times that you're going to be struggling through that I'm not going to be able to help you. It is just the reality of it all, guys. We look at other women to be God, or look for other women to fulfill voids in us that we can't feel ourselves, that only God can fulfill. And so we have to be conscious of that. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled thinking that you can't live up to our expectations because we're older and we've done raised our kids and we're looking at you and maybe being a little critical. Don't be fooled thinking that we raised ours without making mistakes. Don't be fooled thinking that we raised ours without some hardships. And some of us, to make it through, we did the same thing that you're doing now, raising your little ones. So don't be fooled by that. But also, don't be fooled into thinking that you can't make it through. Because that's what we are. We are testimonies. We're testaments of what it looks like if you just continue to press on through. Press on through the day. Press on into your greatness, into your success. Seek the relationship with Christ for yourself. Get to know him for yourself. Allow him to fill the voids for you. Learn what discipline and self-control looks like. Learn what confidence looks like. Learning what your value looks like. That's what you see in us. Not perfection. That's what draws you to us, not perfection. Just to let you know that we too, in all our mess, have overcome some things enough to get to the point to where we are now. And ladies, I want you to know that you can too. If you're struggling, and no matter where you are today, don't be fooled by us other people that you're looking up to and watching. Don't be fooled by us. We're not perfect. We're not perfect at all. We suffer through some of the same things that you're trying to deal with right now. And with that being said, I am your host, Anntricia Bray Smith, author, educator, and public speaker. I'll see you next time for another episode of Woman to Woman.